Hi guys, this is Danny Walker from Off Leash K9. Your dog went through our 2-week board and train, and so this is going to be an outline showing you exactly how to work your collar and your commands through the program. It's going to be a step-by-step tutorial so that you know what to do. You can use this for follow-up questions so that it's not so much that you have to take in. Now, your dog should be fairly easy for you to work. We try to make that a very easy transition from you guys from one-to-one, but right now what we're going to do is just go over the equipment, okay? So the collar that we're going to use right now is our Einstein 300. It's our base model collar, right? Go ahead and get this stuff out of the way. Now in here, you're going to see that it has a manual, so it's an easy little read for you guys. Your warranty, it's a little lantern for you, some extra contact points, and that's going to take care of that. Now, the distance on this collar right here, our 300 model, is going to be a half a mile. The charge for this is going to be about 2.5 days, but what we suggest is that you charge it nightly. To charge this model, what you're going to do is you're going to take the double charger and you're going to plug it into the back of the collar right here and in the back of the remote right here. Just pull these little tabs back, plug it in, and it's going to be ready to roll. So every night when you take this off your dog, this is going to be charged, okay? To disconnect, you just pull it out, push these little tabs in. It just protects the metal from inside from corrosion, from salt water and stuff like that, right? So just push those tabs back in. All right, perfect. So that's that. Now, how do we turn this on? To turn the collar on, which is our easiest one, what we're going to do is actually take the remote, and there's a little red dot right there. You're going to take that red dot and you're going to match it to the red dot that's on the collar. So as soon as these guys come into contact, they should come on green just like so. Same way to turn it off. Red is off. Perfect. All right, so we'll go ahead and turn that back on. All right, I'm going to sit there, right? To turn the remote on, what you're going to do is you're going to hold in this large L button, right, for 3 to 5 seconds. So I hold it down, 1, 2, 3, and it should come on as it did right there. Now, depending on your mode and your model and how we did your training, your remote's either going to be set on 2 different settings. It's either going to be on M and C, which is right there, you can see that in the screen, or more likely, it's going to be set on C, right? The 1D at the top of your screen should always be flashing, right? That's to indicate that your remote is unlocked and it can escalate up. Now, for the majority of the commands that we're going to be using, this button right here, right? Above the red button is going to be the button you're going to be using for come, for sit, for place, for down, for through, for touch, for watch. For any of the commands, for 90% of the commands that we give, that's the button you're going to be using, okay? This dial right here at the top of the remote is our escalation. It goes from 0 to 100. You should never be on 100, right? The way that we train here is your dog's going to get 1 chance per level to comply to any one of the commands that we give. So if we're right-handed, typically what we're going to do is we're going to hold the remote into our right hand so that it's face down just like so. Our thumb is going to be our activation button. So our thumb is going to be the one that's going to be hitting that black button over top of the red. We're going to use these 2 fingers to increase the stimulation, right? So we're going to use these 2 fingers to spin the dial up or down, right? Makes sense so far? So when we're working with your dog, let's say we're going to do recall. Recall, we're going to hit this button, we're going to say come, then we're going to go up. Come, then we're going to go up. Come. As soon as your dog starts moving, we stop asking, right? So what your dog learns is our follow through. You can listen now or you can wait till dad gets home, right? The same response, right? So he's going to learn that that progression of the escalation is going to increase until he feels it. Might as well go ahead and move in. Right? So that's going to be your follow through. Now as soon as the dog complies and gets to us, when we switch from one command to the next, we go back to 0 so the dog has the opportunity to do it on its lowest level. Make sense? All right, perfect. Now let's talk a little bit about this collar. This collar is going to be fitted onto your dog's neck. It's going to be fitted a tight 2 fingers right here by this box, right? The 2 fingers allows contact with the muscle, but it also prevents the contact points from being shoved deep within the neck. But also you don't want this loose, because if it's loose, it's going to shift and rock, and you're going to create a little bit of an irritation. Now say you're with your dog all day long. You're going to move your collar from one side to the other every 2 hours. That way it's not sitting in the same spot. If you live in an area where there's more sun, or you're talking about on the beach and your dog gets wet more often than not, then you're gonna move your collar more often than not, right? So rule of thumb, in the summer when I'm swimming dogs, the collar gets moved every hour. We dry off the neck in that process. Make sense? All right, perfect. All right, so the next button we'll talk about on this remote is gonna be the black button on the other side by the antenna. That is what we call a test button. All that does is make the collar vibrate. So it vibrates just like your cell phone, okay? Typically we only use that to test the collar. Sometimes we use it to start a correction, meaning if your dog starts to chew or focuses on somebody, you hit the T button, it breaks the dog's focus, and now you can tell it what to do. All right, so just depending on the training mod that we did, you'll know exactly whether or not you need to worry about that button or not. Any questions so far? Good. All right, so we got this collar, tight 2 fingers, off to the sides of the neck. Now, you're gonna take this collar off when you leave the house. If the dog is unsupervised for more than 2 hours, it comes off the dog. At night when he's sleeping, it comes off the dog, right? But other than that, for these next 2 weeks, the extension of your board and train, this collar is on your dog anytime you're awake and with them. This is so that they can learn at home is gonna be the same as camp, right? Because we don't want them going home and saying, I'll do it outside, I'll do it near off leash, I'll do it at the metro, I'll do it in DC, but I'm not gonna do it at home, right? We wanna stay consistent, right? That's the key to success here, is that we start something, we finish it. So if I ask your dog to come, your dog is to move towards me and get to me, right? If I ask your dog to sit, your dog has to sit, right? And that's what we teach them, that when we say it, we're gonna follow through, right? All right, perfect. Check out for our next portion of this tutorial.